Okay, cool, guys. What's good? What's good? What's good there, guys? Nice to have you guys there in the building. I'm just about set up. I'm just about set up. Let me just go to where I can be able to host you guys properly. Just give me a second. Make sure I've got my headsets there. Sorry, guys. I'm a bit delayed today. I'm a bit delayed. But nonetheless, we're gonna get started, guys. We're gonna get started. Let me just connect my headsets. I hope I did not forget them. I didn't see them here. Let me just go and get my headsets 1 second, and then I'll be back, and then we'll start the session, guys. So I don't have a lot of chilies. Okay, guys, I'm just setting myself up. Just got some headsets. Luckily, Smooth's in the office with me today. So I just borrowed his headsets there. But otherwise, just want to make sure that everything is 100% before we get going. Do apologize, guys, because what I'm actually doing is I am streaming our session on my YouTube channel. So I was also kind of, part of the delays is just me also setting up the stream on the YouTube channel. But I think we're about good to go. Just check on my phone. Let's see what's going on there in the chats there. I see all good. T.Mayne, just want to thank you for taking your time off in the weekend. Thanks, no problem, dude. Thanks a lot there, man. Thanks a lot there. I see there as well there, Mohammed saying good mornings, chasers. Good mornings, chasers. Mohammed is calling you guys out there. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Otherwise, let's do the things to be done. Okay, let's set this up here. Open up my mic, my camera. Yeah, just so you guys can see me there. Anyway, let's get started, guys. We've got our charts here. So basically, guys, we're on the DXY. What we'll do here is just make sure everything can fit there in our screen. Let's just make it full screen just so that we're all good. There we go. So guys, we're here basically on DXY, and just having a look, guys, at DXY weekly time frame, we can basically see that we've got some momentum to the downside, obviously breaking some structure. We entered some sort of a corrective phase or something like that. But nonetheless, we had this area over here from a weekly chart that we kind of highlighted as maybe an important area of resistance or something like that, that we see some momentum coming in, violating these coronavirus lows there. Do you guys remember those lows? If you guys are watching the markets during that time of the year, it was crazy. But anyway, we've got some, I guess, this redistribution just before prices came down and violated these lows. So that's kind of why we're looking at this area. But nonetheless, if we come just to this most recent price action over here, or let's just go down to the daily, because we'll be referencing the same structure. Nothing's pretty much changed if we're just looking at this most recent structure. So basically, guys, from a daily, what we can see is price giving us some sort of uptrend, or we're moving to the upside now, something along those lines. We can basically see if we just connect whatever extreme lows we've got there, just take into account whatever weeks we have, we can see that price is in some sort of an uptrend, right? What we're also going to do maybe is just add this resistance just so that we can have some sort of a nice channel. But nonetheless, conclusion being, yes, we are in this nice, beautiful uptrend over here, but we've got prices being corrective around our areas of resistance. So if you just look at resistance, we've got this resistance up here. where we see prices basically violating to the upside and then breaking back below. So obviously showing us that the momentum that whatever buyers came in with from here and managed to violate structure, they couldn't sustain that momentum. Obviously sellers eventually overtook them and sent prices back into the structure. And then I guess that's also another sign that sellers are there, or someone is willing to sell this market where it is right now. So if we just look at what's going on here, we've got some equal highs, violation of these equal highs, momentum back into our structure. Now, basically, because we're seeing price action being corrective, we're inside of this nice ascending structure. And we've also got the potential for obviously a beautiful reversal structure on a smaller time frame. If we just look at this most recent structure, we can see something beginning to form there, something that looks like almost some sort of a head and shoulder structure. So obviously we understand that our high probability area for some downside continuation is at the completion of this right shoulder, which is at our previous resistance where prices have violated and broke back below. And then moving forward, I guess we obviously just need to react to the most recent price action. So we are bearish bias just based off the structure, based off where we are, all of that nice good stuff. But when we go down to the 4 hour, we'll obviously just be able to observe a little bit of some nature's theory. So coming down to the 4 hour, we're looking at some nature in the price action. What we were looking at last week was we were looking at this area of resistance over there for prices to react from somewhere here. Basically, just because we have this nice, beautiful bearish engulfing over here. Yes, I know it was news or whatever the case is, but nonetheless, still we see volume to the downside. And obviously that volume came into the market from these areas here. So we know that if price comes back to this area, there is a likelihood that price can react from this area, because we've seen that previously in the past, sellers saw value at this area, or rather sellers saw value in, what's the English? But nonetheless, sellers wanted to sell from there. Done. English done. So anyway, if we just come back to what our bias is and what's going on here on the DXY, we can see that prices just violated this most recent resistance area. We've got prices creating a low, moving away from that low, we come back, we reject this low, and we basically see some momentum pushing to the upside, violating some resistance areas. This obviously doesn't yet look like a corrective structure for us to be looking for some downside, but obviously we understand that price has the same way we had this whole area over here to correct and do whatever. Same thing in this area, price can do whatever it wants to do inside of this area, pump us in there, come back up, violate resistance, and then maybe even give us a bigger structure, whatever the case is. Price can do whatever it wants to do inside of this area, but we do know that we are sell biased. And right now, from a higher time frame, the most important area that we need to be focusing on is this resistance area up there, because it's going to give us, number one, an opportunity to sell as high as we can based off the structure and relative price action. And number two, we'll obviously have some probabilities and an ability to manage our trade if we do manage to find a shorting opportunity of any dollar-based pairs, or longing opportunity on dollar quote pairs, or however opposite, if it's the opposite way. But nonetheless, you guys know that we use DXY to obviously make judgments on other dollar pairs. So that's kind of what we're going to do. So right now, because there is no clear structure in this area here that's giving us any reason to look for a shorting opportunity somewhere inside of here, we only have one point of interest, one area of value, and we're going to either need to wait for prices to come to this area of value, or we're going to wait for prices to develop and give us something nice and clear, nice and objective, maybe an ascending structure here, maybe whatever, it doesn't really matter. But we know we sell biased, and right now we only have one point of interest. So sell biased, showing opportunities on the DXY. Let's go into our pairs, guys. See what's cooking on the pairs. So we're still looking at the exact same pairs, guys. Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss franc, AJ, AU, Swiss yen, New Zealand dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar JPY. And then US30, yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. But anyway, let's go into some Aussie CAD. I'll also just be following up there, guys, with the questions in the chats and stuff like that. So let me just make sure that I've got it there. See, good morning, Chasers there from Crazy. Busisi is saying good morning, guys. Welcome there. I see Vafana's also saying appreciate the energy, bro. No stress, man. I'm here. Let's do something. I had a terrible week last week. I had a very well, not a terrible week, but last week I ended in drawdown. I closed my week in a drawdown. Is what it is. So obviously we don't go over, we don't carry anything. We know that market is an environment that's giving us endless trading opportunities. We literally endless trading opportunities every single day, every single tick that the market makes. So obviously, if we take maybe an experience from the past and we bring it into the future, it affects our decision making in the current state. And we know that the current market conditions are not the same as they were yesterday. They'll never be the same as they were yesterday. The reason why market is selling today, even if it sold yesterday, are not the same reasons. So we'll get different probabilities on every trade. So it kind of helps to just cut everything, leave it behind, and then obviously just approach the market with a fresh mind. So nonetheless, okay, why am I doing this? Let's just start on the daily there, just so that we can see what's cooking. Higher time frame structure. I see there. Will you please evaluate for gold as well? Okay, no stress, Mohammed. I think I'll add gold there. That's probably the only pair that I'm gonna add, because I also want to know what's going on gold. So it's kind of does. There's a purpose why. There's a reason why I would also want to go on gold. But yeah, and I want to go on gold to kind of make a judgment on AUD CAD. I found out something very interesting on this this young lady of mine that's given me so much opportunities to just learn from the market. Yeah, I'm picking my long-term trading directions depending on what's happening based off the oil market and what's happening based off the gold market. But just specifically for Aussie CAD. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. But we'll get an opportunity to speak about it, and then yeah, all the correlation that's involved, whatever, we'll get an opportunity sometime. But yeah, let's just get into some Aussie CAD, see what we got going on here. So higher time frame, while I was speaking, I was marking out the charts. But yes, guys, we still do have this descending structure, this expanding descending structure, whatever structure you want to call this. But nonetheless, market is creating lower lows, lower highs. But we're doing so in a corrective manner because we can observe that every lower structure that has been formed, prices broke below, broke back above. New lower structure, broke below, broke back above. New lower structure, broke below, broke back above. So obviously, yes, prices are creating lower lows and lower highs, but we're doing so in a corrective manner, which leads us to isolate the structure as a corrective structure. It can only be one of two types of corrective structures. Either it's going to be a reversal corrective structure, or it will be a continuation corrective structure. There are only two. Nonetheless, because we had some high time frame, and I don't think I need to go on the weekly, because this structure we've been referencing this structure for millennia, for ages. I just wanted to go to a monthly time frame there. Let's just go 1M. That's how you get there. Cool. So from a monthly time frame, we basically have this, I don't know, all this crap over here. But nonetheless, monthly, we've got equal lows, prices broke below, those equal lows broke back above. Obviously, we can see prices also retested that area, the same zone over here before we move to the downside. And the reason why we've been a very bullish bias on Aussie CAD rather than bearish bias. Yes, we do find those sells. Obviously, you guys know we're involved in some sells and whatever. But the reason why we've been primarily higher time frame bullish is just because we obviously can see that right now where price is, we're retesting these previous lower structures that we've broken below, broken back above. And if we look, we always pay attention to two things. How does price get to a level of structure? Obviously, we came impulsively, but we also look at what price does at that level of structure. And we can see at this level of structure, we started consolidating, obviously showing us if price was going to break this level of structure, we would have broke that level of structure nice and impulsively, nice and strong. But we're doing so in a corrective manner, which kind of gave us the hint of maybe being extremely bullish, maybe on those higher timeframes and trying to get involved in as many buys as possible, but then also opening ourselves up to trading opportunities in whichever direction. So let's just come back here on the most recent price action. So basically what I've got to highlight are obviously these lower structures here that we've broken below and broken back above, because it is still a region that prices can come back and retest at any future point in time, whatever the case is. But nonetheless, yes, prices did stop us out. I don't know when did we take that sell from somewhere inside of here. Yes, prices did stop us out, but you guys can see daily we got a bearish engulfing. Friday was a nice sell-off day. Nonetheless, prices did want to move to the downside, but unfortunately, maybe we were a bit premature in our entry or whatever the case is. But just what it is, we move on, we look for the next trading opportunity. So still the area that we're going to highlight is this resistance area up here where we see prices kind of rejecting over there. So we know that there is some sell sensitivity from this area there, but nonetheless, we got this sort of Quasimodo structure because obviously the necklines are not kind of aligning, but we currently in a bullish trend. We violated our descending trend line and all those things that we're going to speak about now on the 4 hour. Should have went down to the 4 hour before I started speaking about all of that. But anyway, yes, we were highlighting this descending structure here. We had a lot of reasons why we were looking for buys from these regions down low. we had this corrective structure over here. I think we drew it from here or something like that. We had this corrective structure over here. Obviously, first touch, second touch, third touch, move to the upside. We're looking for a nice break and a retest, and you guys can see where price action is coming to right now. So we've got this nice, beautiful inverse head and shoulders. Momentum to the upside. Yes, we didn't get that nice, beautiful third touch, but prices came and violated our low structure and broke back above. So what we're going to be doing here is obviously because now we've entered some sort of a bullish trend, and we do want to be buying just because where were we from? We were from a support region, and what are we seeing now? We're seeing buyers coming into the market. What are also we seeing? We're seeing market creating higher highs, higher lows, characteristics of who being in control, of buyers being in control. We're seeing market giving us signs of strength, breaking above resistance areas, showing us that any sellers that came in from here or here that were able to violate these lower structures and obviously give us lower lows. Yes, buyers are more, or rather there's more buyers in this market right now than there were sellers at this point in time. So obviously all this reasoning, I would rather be bullish bias than bearish bias on Aussie CAD. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Try and follow through with this momentum that we see in the market right now. What we do have here in this most recent price action, we've got some lows here on a 4-hour that I kind of want to pay attention to, because we've got a nice supply area from here, or demand area, whatever. I would just call it a point of interest. Hey guys, I try to cut out as much of this nonsense English as possible. Hey, instead of calling support and resistance the whole day, I just use one word, point of interest. I know which direction I'm trading. But anyway, I got a point of interest there. Obviously, nice demand area, nice support, or whatever you want to call it. Area that markets, obviously, we see momentum coming in from there, breaking these higher structures over here. So if we want to trade, or if you want to find those nice risk entries, obviously, this is the point of interest. So this is the area where I'll be looking for those nice, beautiful risk entries. So I do know that if we went down onto a higher time frame, we would be able to isolate some, on a lower time frame, we would be able to isolate a descending structure. But I don't want us to do this at this point in time. This is the descending structure that we would be able to isolate, obviously, and we can see that we get a nice, beautiful third touch in this region over here. That's also our point of interest over there. So this is like kind of a structure that I kind of want to trade. Keep that structure in mind, but I don't want to draw it on my charts because I don't want that to be I just don't want it on my charts right now. I think I'll wait after I wake up on Monday or whenever I'm analyzing. And then if that structure still looks the same, then I will draw it in. But as of right now, all I want to do, or all I want to have in my head as for a game plan for next week is that I'm bullish. I have my point of interest. All I want to see is prices violating these lower structures there. Once prices violate these lower structures, I'm looking for reversals down low, reversal structures, because this is my point of interest. This is where I want to find buying opportunities. If I don't find reversal structures down low, I wait for prices to break back above this lower structure here that we've just violated. And then obviously I wait for that nice, beautiful retest of structure. And then we find long trading opportunities from there. So either risk entries below this previous support entry here, reduce risk entries above this previous support structure. Nonetheless, I want to follow through on the current 4-hour trend that we have in place. We've seen some violations of resistance areas. And then also, if this setup fails, our next best plan, or where I'm willing to add size, like as much size as I need to, this is my point of interest, which is obviously this previous support structure. Prices broke below, broke back above. We haven't really retested on a higher time frame. And as well, you guys can see that we have a nice, beautiful bullish engulfing candlestick straight on this area. So showing us beautiful momentum that if we look at this whole structure that's here, where do we think, like if you had to ask a blind person, like, dude, where do you think that the buyers came in, most of the buyers? That blind person would tell you that, oh, I see a bullish engulfing here. That's momentum. Buyers came in from somewhere here. Oh, I see another bullish engulfing over here. That's momentum. New buyers came in from over here. Yes, this is a point of interest, but we can see how the candlesticks left this area here. So nonetheless, the reason why we're looking at this area here is because prices are still bullish in a bullish trend. As long as we are above this 4-hour support area here, price action is still bullish, and we still have the potential to follow through on bullish structure. So this is obviously our first plan. Prices, this is where price is close to. This is our game plan for next week. And if this fails, obviously, this is our next point of interest, where we're observing how prices get to this area and what prices do at this area. And that's where we're willing to add the biggest size. So that's our bullish bias on Aussie CAD for next week, guys. That's our bullish bias for next week. Let's go into the other pairs. I'm liking Aussie CAD. I'm always loving Aussie Cat. I always love the structure. Even if I don't find any entries or anything on Aussie Cat, it's just so beautiful to watch the structure develop on Aussie Cat. It teaches you so much every single day. Yo, the 1 minute is absolutely hot on that pair. The 1 minute is hot. If you are learning chart patterns and all those things, just watch Aussie Cat on a 1 minute the whole day, and you will see how beautiful structure is. All your continuations, all your reversals, your ascending structures, your descending structures, manipulations, violations of these double tops. Aussie Cat will show you everything. It's just a nice pair to look at. It's just a nice pair to look at. So coming into Aussie Swiss franc, guys, coming into Aussie Swiss franc, I just want to see what's going on here in the chats. Okay, please share more info. What time does your live start? And it's only Saturdays accidentally because I came across this. Okay, cool. Awesome there. Sorry, I want to just make sure that things are still moving. Okay, cool. There we go. There we go. Cool. So on Aussie Swiss franc, guys, if you just look at it daily, what I would like to say is that we got what we were looking for like very long time ago. I don't know how long you guys follow the analysis for, but very long time ago we got what we were looking for. But unfortunately, price action didn't give us any hints on a smaller time frame to be able to prepare or maybe to catch those moves. But nonetheless, I'm okay with that because anyway, Aussie Swiss franc was a pair that's been stuck inside some sort of a range and whatever. Price action just wasn't looking very nice. I wasn't seeing a lot of, I guess, just maybe trades that I'll be willing to put my money on, like a lot of my money on. So yeah, it's okay that we stayed out of the market, but I guess if you guys were following, you got a beautiful opportunity to learn about the price action and I guess just follow through on our analysis. So basically daily, we've got some momentum to the downside. We had these equal highs and we were forecasting for a crap load of time that we wanted to sell from above these equal highs. We had a point of interest here. Yes, prices didn't really tap the point of interest or whatever the case is, but nonetheless, you guys can see we came up and grabbed that liquidity that we were looking before the sellers came in that maybe we're going to violate higher time frame structure. They needed to get the momentum to actually move the market. So where we're going to find that momentum above these highs over here, because obviously a lot of momentum to the downside. Sellers had an opportunity once to come into the market, stops above. They had another opportunity to come into the market, stops above. They had a third opportunity to come into the market, stops above. Anyone that maybe took reduced risk entries here, maybe got stops above this high as well. So obviously we knew they were coming back for that high, because if market was going to sell off, why would they leave all that money up there on top? But nonetheless, let's just get into the analysis and see what's here for next week. So looking at structure, yes, we still got all of that nice, good, juicy stuff. But what I want to do is I also want to isolate the structure now. So I want to add my support trend line in there, obviously just taking into account my extreme support areas, and then as well as resistance. We do see that third touch would then be maybe our fake out or whatever the case is. We've got this resistance trend line there. We see prices violating at that touch, breaking back in or below structure. Let's just put it there like this. Cool. So because we've got some momentum to the downside, we entered some sort of a corrective structure, all of that nice, good stuff. My bias is bearish. My bias is to the downside from a daily. So going down onto the 4 hour, obviously just want to see nature in price action and then observe where are my points of interest, where can I find areas where I can be able to find those trading opportunities. So looking at the 4 hour, 4 hour doesn't look so nice, but anyway, looking at the 4 hour, we can clearly see that there is some momentum in the markets. We've got some characteristics of a downtrend, I guess, just by looking at our resistance coming down to this previous support structures over there. And then obviously we got resistance and then we've got new lower lows, because yes, we do see prices giving us a new lower low below these lows over there. So obviously some characteristics of a downtrend, but not pretty clear, or rather at least there's a lot of momentum in this market right now. So what I'd like to see maybe is just for an opportunity to sell as high as I can sell. Yes, I do see that there's a lot of momentum in this market, but I still want to sell as high as I can sell. And currently my point of interest that stands right now is this area over here. So this resistance over here where I see sellers coming into the market, obviously maybe market might follow through, but eventually we know that market has to correct at some point in time, and we want to trade where the probabilities are. So looking at the structure, obviously there's no clear corrective structure or whatever in this area here that we can say maybe this can be an area that we're looking for prices to come to. Right now, all we're doing is hoping that prices correct and give us some structure and not just follow through down all the way to the downside on this position. I thought I had my drawing too, and not just follow through on the momentum and keep going. We're hoping for a reason or for market to stall, stop, slow down, or whatever the case is for us to be able to enter into the sell. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because of the way price action is right now, what I have on my charts, the only information that I have on my charts right now is that I see sellers, new sellers coming in from this area here. So this is now my 4-hour point of interest, where if market comes back to this area based off what's on the chart right now, that's where I'll be willing to sell. But nonetheless, I am still sell biased, guys. All I'm saying is that on Aussie Swiss franc, structure does not give us something clear as yet. We do know we want to be sell biased, but obviously for us to let the probabilities stack on our side, we need to wait for price action to give us structure that's clear enough for us to say, this is where our probabilities will align. Like if we see an ascending structure, we know that we can look for probabilities at that touch. If we see a head and shoulders, we know we can look for probabilities at that right shoulder, or maybe at the break and the retest of the neckline. That's the type of thing that I'm trying to say, that since we don't see that, we need to wait for that. But what's on the chart right now, this is the area that we have as a point of interest. So Aussie Swiss franc, nothing very clear, but sell biased for me. Let's go on to some AJ. Let's go up to the daily. Awesome. So looking at AJ from a daily, all I want to do for myself, yes, I'm concluding that price action is sort of moving sideways, because obviously I know from my theory, uptrend, highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. That's an uptrend. Downtrend, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Cool, that's a downtrend. And if I look at what I see on my chart, I see highs, equal lows, lower highs, higher lows, lower highs. I don't see either lower lows or lower highs. I don't see higher highs and higher lows. So obviously I can't say this is an uptrend. I can't say it's a downtrend. Therefore, I'm concluding we are moving sideways, because there is no consistent higher highs, higher lows, lower highs on the current price action that we can see from a daily. So we are moving sideways. We're in some sort of a corrective structure. So obviously all we can do for ourselves is just see how best we can isolate structure to see what the price action is doing. I absolutely don't like these JPY code pairs now. I was telling, who was I telling? I forgot who I was telling, but we're having a conversation about these JPY code pairs, and I don't like I was talking to Lighten. Yes, I was talking to Lighten. Lighten, are you in the building with us today? Let's see if Lighten is in the building with us today. He's not here. Lighten's not in the building. But yeah, I was talking to Lighten about these JPY code pairs, and yeah, I don't like the price action that's developing on these pairs right now. It's giving both buyers. I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before. Like when price action is giving both buyers and sellers reasons to sell. Like if you wanted to buy, you can see clearly how you would buy, where you would buy. If you wanted to sell, you can see clearly how you would sell, where you would sell. If price action is doing both of those things on a higher time frame, then it means that I'm trading equal probabilities. There's a 50-50 chance that price can do absolutely anything. And that's not the environment that I want to trade. I want to trade 49.51. I know I won't get the odds high enough in my favor, or whatever the case is, because of the way market is. But at least if there's more reasons for me to go in one direction rather than the other, I'm happy to trade that kind of a market. But if there's equal validations to trade in both directions, then it means that I'm gonna be involved in some chop here and there along the way, because both buyers and sellers are involving themselves. So coming into AJ, guys, daily, we're concluding that we're moving sideways. Obviously, we just need to drop down onto the 4-hour to observe some nature in the price action to then conclude which direction we're going to pick, and obviously where are the points of interest to trade in that direction. So dropping down onto a 4-hour, just observing what's going on over here. We basically had this descending structure. Let's just do this over here. We concluded that yes, prices came up, we had this ascending structure, prices came down, broke into a descending structure, whatever the case is. But where did this ascending structure start? This ascending structure started over here in this area there. Obviously that became our low. We isolated this nice descending structure, first touch, second touch, third touch, nice resistance area, whatever, all this nice good juicy stuff. We see momentum to the upside, violating structure, a whole lot of resistance areas there. But obviously we see that the most recent price action is singing a completely different song. All of a sudden we're seeing sellers pumping themselves into the market before price action actually gave us a nice completion at the 90% rule of the structure. So obviously we need to accommodate and trade what we see on the charts, or obviously just adapt to this most recent price action, because we don't see anything very clear happening in this area. Yes, maybe there's this inverse head and shoulders or whatever the case is, but we can't be trading this inverse head and shoulders because the inverse head and shoulders is complete. We see the inverse head and shoulders starting over here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Inverse head and shoulders has completed. So we can't be looking at this structure as an inverse head and shoulder anymore. But what we can do is consider that price is violating resistance areas in a corrective manner, breaking above, breaking back below. So what we'll do for ourselves is we'll just simply delete this structure that we have over here. Let's do that, delete that, and delete this. And we'll focus on this most recent price action here, because we already know that price action is going to give us a larger corrective structure, because all of this price action has been ever since we entered this area here. This has been one continuous corrective structure ever since we started from this area over here. Maybe you can even conclude it's the whole structure, whatever the case is. But I'm just looking at the most recent price action. So what I'm going to do for myself is I am going to look at the most recent price action, obviously focus on the most recent price action, understand that from a 4-hourly perspective, my price action is bullish. I have support. Where's the next high to have been formed after this support has been formed? It's this resistance over here. Where's the next low to have been formed after that? This low over here. Where's the next high after that? This high over here. So I do understand that as long as price action stays above my support structure there, price action is still bullish on a 4-hourly perspective. Obviously, we know higher time frame, we're moving completely sideways. So what we're doing for ourselves is the same thing that we did here to catch the sell. The same thing that we did here to observe the buy is that we're going to wait for the price action to develop, give us information, give us a clear structure. Once we have a structure, yes, we've got momentum to the upside. 100% we've got this momentum to the upside. But what do we need? We need a structure to be able for us to basically see where are the probabilities going to align for us to involve ourselves in the buy opportunity. And obviously, we're not going to be looking to sell. Yes, we see a lot of momentum right now in the markets, but we're not going to be looking to sell because, yes, if we wanted to sell, there's AUD Swiss franc that's giving us maybe a lot more clearer sell price action, because we've at least given a third touch of our structure before we see some sell side momentum or whatever the case is. We'll get better probabilities looking to sell this pair rather than AJ. So obviously we wait for the probabilities to align, for things to develop, for information for us to be able to do or to make a good decision. So what I'll do for myself is I will have a bullish bias on AJ. I won't look to sell it as yet, but what I will do is wait, exercise my patience, and wait for a nice 4-hour structure to develop, which means that AJ is probably not going to be on my watch list on Monday, probably not going to be on my watch list on Tuesday, maybe not even on Wednesday, whatever the case is. For as long as it takes proper 4-hour structure to develop, I'm not going to trade AJ. So AJ, but I am bullish bias, so we'll just put there bullish bias and we'll move on to the next pair. So let's just go on to some AJ. Let's go on to some AJ. Let's go, some AU. Let's just see what's going on there in the chats. I see Mohammed is saying AUD JPY is not making cup and handle pattern time frame on the 4-hour. It's under the handle formation. Once the neckline breaks, it'll go up. I think I sort of understand what's a cup and handle. Let me try and see if I can see it. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. I can see what you're talking about. There's the cup. This is going to be the formation of the handle. Cool. I see it there, Mohammed. But yeah, man, I guess just be consistent in the concepts that you use to make sense of the market information. Like you see, you'll never hear me straying into things like for example, your observation, like a cup and handle, because that's not something that I look at to be able to make sense of what's going on in the chart. For me, the only things that I need to look at to make sense of the price action is just market structure, number one, because market structure is going to give me a context as to what environment am I trading and where is price now relative to where it was. just looking at the structure, and obviously within market structure, I involve chart patterns as well. Chart patterns include, in my package of market structure. So obviously just those two things give me a good context of what environment am I trading right now? Where is price relative right now based on where it was? And what decision can I make based off that information? Obviously, like you can see, if we are already in impulsive phases, if we're already moving, that's not an environment that I want to trade. And just looking at the market structure would show me that that's not an environment that's conducive for the way that I'm trading. What I need to do for myself, wait for the market to slow down, enter some sort of a corrective structure, because within the corrective structure, I can take 3 or 4 different entries. Maybe I get stopped out on all of them, but I can take 3 or 4 different entries. But if I do find one that's in the direction of the momentum, I'll be able to make a lot more from that position, because while I'm trading in the direction of the momentum, I will be able to maximize on that trading opportunity. Because I'm trading the next impulsive phase, I'll find continuation structures in there. I'll get the opportunity to basically scale into my position to add if I need to add, or whatever the case is. But also I'll spend a lot less time involved in any move in the market, because I'm looking to trade the next impulsive momentum. So basically just looking at the market structure for me gives me that information. And that's all I want to know. For me, I just want to know what is the current context of the market. Where can I trade in which direction? That's all I need to see from the charts, though. But a good observation there, Mohammed. At least that piece of information allows you to make sense of the market. You have a plan to say that if the market does this, then this is how I can react based off this theory, giving me an understanding of the price movement. 100% there, Mohammed. I fully agree, man. I think there, let's just go on to some AU. Let's just go into some AU, see what's going on there in some AU. Cool. So on AU, I guess, let me just do this so that we can see what's going on here. I guess our structure still kind of remains intact, but this week, I can see this week kind of does something to the structure. But if we just isolate the same descending structure that we've got from a higher time frame, just obviously looking at the nature, seeing our lower structures, seeing price action violating our lower structures, breaking back above, seeing price action violating new lower structures, breaking back above, concluding that yes, price action is moving to the downside correctively. Excuse me. So maybe I'll get the opportunity to isolate a corrective structure. With that kind of notion, we'll isolate this corrective structure here, same corrective structure that we had last week, because price action obviously takes a while to change on higher time frames. But yes, like I was telling you guys, this week, you can see that the week obviously violates our resistance trend line there. So I guess it will just be up to you whether you want to include the most recent price action, which means this new week over there, or you just want to keep price action the way it is right now and just basically see how price develops around this resistance area there, which is what I'm going to do for myself. So just looking at the nature of the price action, obviously we're at resistance trend line now. As much as we're in a descending structure, doesn't make sense for us to look to buy into a resistance area. If we wanted to buy, then obviously we need to be observing previous support structures or whatever the case is, which on a daily perspective, this is our most recent support that the market has just created right now, which is an area obviously where we could be looking for opportunities to long. Other than that, we've got our nice set of almost equal lows down there, which will obviously provide a better trading opportunity for us, because we'll get an opportunity to buy as low as possible. Also, better risk to reward ratio, also better opportunities to be able to maximize if we're in the right direction. So looking at things on AU, right now, obviously, it makes more sense to be sell biased, but obviously there's a potential for us to be future bullish biased. So looking at this structure here from a 4-hour time frame, obviously we had this nice ascending structure, momentum to the downside, ascending structure. We saw this momentum completing at the 90% rule of the structure. We had some structure like this drawn in there or whatever. Momentum to the downside. After we see this momentum, we basically see price action doing the same thing, creating some resistance areas over here. And as well, maybe you could even say this area over there as well. But nonetheless, we broke above and broke back below. After we've seen some momentum violating our structure to the downside, we're seeing price action moving in some sort of an ascending structure. So obviously the ascending structure that you could have isolated for yourself was this ascending structure over here. There we go. Nice ascending structure. First touch, second touch, third touch there at the resistance trend line. Obviously move back below structure. I feel like I'm literally just saying, I'm analyzing all the moves that we missed now. This that touch, yes, we missed it. This break below structure, and obviously retest momentum shift away, yes, we missed it. But anyway, market will give us new opportunities if we're going to continue down lower. All we just need to wait for is for price action to violate our support trend line there, and obviously just give us that nice, beautiful continuation structure. And once we find a nice, beautiful structure, whether it's an ascending structure, whether it's a head and shoulders, whatever the case is, we're waiting for price action to violate our support structures first, and then we're looking for continuation to the downside. AU, I am still biased to the downside because maybe there is still a potential for price action to come down, complete at the third touch of this higher time frame structure, which is down there. And as well as, yes, maybe we did create a new lower low over in this new low here. Did kind of give us a new lower low, but it's almost in the same price region. So I can consider this to be kind of nice equal lows that maybe the market wants to come and grab before we move to the upside nicely. So with all of that being said, guys, I think I'm going to be more sell biased than bullish biased on AU. And then just kind of just wait for the price action to give me reasons to enter into those sell biased trading opportunities. Yeah, let's go into some CCN. Yeah, CCN. So once again, guys, let me apologize for sending a couple of signals that were a bit premature. We entered a lot earlier than the momentum actually came in, just like AED Swiss franc, AED CAD. The momentum really came in on Friday. I anticipated maybe momentum was going to come in a little bit earlier, but otherwise, just what it is. This is market. Yeah, we move on. We just continue. What's the next best trading opportunity? So looking at the price action, or do I wanna go extremely high? Okay, let's just go to weekly just so that we can still observe this ascending structure, this channel, or whatever you want to call this thing, an ascending structure. Simple enough. Let's do this. Cool. We've got this ascending structure there. Obviously, we've been sell biased at this resistance trend line. Now dropping down onto a smaller time frame, we could have isolated maybe this ascending structure like here, but then obviously the reason why we were bullish bias from this area here was because yes, we did have this ascending structure out, but we saw how did price break this ascending structure? Not impulsively, we broke in a corrective manner. So obviously there was no sell biased momentum. We needed to wait for that sell biased momentum. Where was that previous area where we were looking for that sell biased momentum? We were looking at it at this area, previous resistance. My God, previous resistance. Prices broke below, retested again. This was our point of interest for like from Monday. But yeah, market faked us in a bit too early. Is what it is. Yeah, it's just so funny. It's just so funny. But anyway, what matters is that we live and we learn from whatever market experience that we get. Like, always keep it in your mind. Like, always never forget your previous biases. Never forget your previous analyses. Never forget your trades that you took, because every time you're in the market is giving you an opportunity to learn something about the nature of that pair anytime you're involved in the market. So anyway, on a daily, we've got this structure. Obviously, we've got some resistance there. Prices being corrected. We broke above, broke back below. We spoke about that. Looking at this most recent price action, we're seeing that the momentum is to the downside. But then again, we also have price being corrective. As we move to the downside, we have prices being corrective, and we've broken below these support structures and broken back above. So what are we doing with this price action now? I wish you guys could just answer now and tell me what do we do now? What do we do? So nonetheless, when we drop down into a 4 hour, it's going to become very clear what we're going to do. If we just obviously reference our higher time frame structure, that higher time frame resistance and that support that we had over there, and then obviously this area over here. What can we conclude? We can conclude that yes, prices created some extreme highs, prices created some extreme lows, and ever since we've been inside of these extreme highs, prices have had the opportunity to create levels of structure inside. So what we can conclude is that maybe prices are moving to the side on a 4 hourly perspective. And what we're going to do for ourselves, just to be safe, obviously, is treat it like a ranging market, because that's kind of the nature that we're seeing on a 4 hourly perspective right now. And we're going to look for selling probabilities from the high of the range, buying probabilities from the low of the range. Where is price action right now? Price action is slap bang in the center of the range. So does that mean that we're going to be trading Absolutely not. We're going to be waiting for price action to obviously come to our extreme areas so that we can find opportunities to trade. So obviously, depending on that or based off the higher time frame structure, once we see prices violating these higher structures here, that's kind of maybe when I want to be looking maybe for those sell bias trading opportunities. Hopefully, for prices break back below structure, retest or whatever the case is. But buying opportunities, what I want to do for my buying opportunities is I want to isolate a larger structure and understand that for my buying opportunities, guys, because we're at daily resistance. So obviously I'll be less likely to take buys than sells. So what I want to do for my buys, I want to exercise a bit of patience, accommodate for the most recent structure that we've got there, and then just isolate this structure over here. Just taking into account maybe, or let's just do this. Take into account, wait, let me just go up to the daily, just so that I'm not trying to force a structure over here. Okay, cool. We can use these lower structures in this support over there. I just didn't want to, I wanted to make sure I'm not forcing the structure, because it does happen where you just want to do something and then you just start forcing the structure, making the structure fit your bias instead of just isolating what you see. But anyway, yeah, we see some momentum pushing away from these areas over there. Obviously, where's the next lows to have been formed? After we violated these lows here, where the momentum came in, it's these lows over there. And obviously, then these are the next highs to have been formed after these lows here. So hence why we're isolating a structure like this. So what I want to do for myself is just be a bit safe on the buying opportunities. And for buying opportunities, guys, I more so want to buy when prices get down towards this support structure over there, because I'll get another opportunity to obviously maximize on reward. If we're going to the 90% of the structure, I'll have better probabilities because price will have violated these lows. If I have an ascending structure that's confluent, if I have a reversal structure that's confluent, but also I'll probably be trading inside of this range. Now, I don't know if you guys ever look at ranges and trade. Yes, you do. Break and a retest is you kind of like almost trading a range. So basically, my thought processes on this structure, if we violate these lower structures, that was kind of the reasons why I wanted to even buy from these areas here, is because I concluded that price was stuck in a range from literally the whole of the last, I don't know, the last 2 months of the year, from November until December. Price was stuck inside of this box for all that time, and for all that time, the price was stuck inside of that box. Yes, market was chopping, but who won that battle? Even a blind dude would tell me that from this consolidation, there were more buyers that were stacked in this area, because obviously we see momentum pushing to the upside, even being able to violate previous resistance areas. So buyers won. Whatever the hell was going on inside of this consolidation, there were more buyers involved there than there were sellers. So my thought processes were that obviously if we come back down to this area, if the buyers were institutional buyers, they're going to want to protect their position because obviously they saw value from this area here. They're going to want to buy when prices come back into this value area over there. So I kind of do have the same thought processes this current moment in time, especially if price action then becomes corrective as we are moving towards these lower structures here, then I will be more willing to buy Swiss yen than sell it. But for me right now, because we're at the daily resistance area and obviously all this higher time frame structure, I more so want to sell than I do want to buy. So what I want to do for myself is just give myself an opportunity to let market develop. We might even find out that price action will gift us with a nice, beautiful ascending structure. If we just give it some patience and not force it, we might find out that price will give us a nice ascending structure with amazing probabilities to even trade a nice touch or whatever it is. All we just need to do is exercise patience, understand that we can sell from these areas here. We know what we need to see in order to sell, understand that we can buy from these areas here. We know what we see in order to buy. We wait. Once the probabilities align, then we add our money on the trade. Then we take the risk. But nonetheless, cool. Got some indecision here on Swiss yen, so I'm kind of just going to be reactive to the price action. Don't know which direction I want to take, but basically, if we violate these resistance areas, we'll be paying attention to price action to look to sell. If we push to the downside, obviously, we'll pay attention and look to buy. Let's go on to some New Zealand dollar CAD, see what's cooking there. I see 2 questions in the chats. Let me just go to the chats before we continue with the analysis. Lacronic is saying, trade what you see, not what you think, man. Trade what you see and not what you think. Yep, 100% agreed. I don't need to say anything on top of that, man. Well rounded up. Well rounded up. I see that Kopana is also agreeing, man. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful, there, man. That's powerful. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, cool. So let's continue with our New Zealand dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar CAD. Okay, cool. We're on the daily. Let's just come into all of this structure over here. Let me just see what the weekly looks like, just for reference quickly. Okay, cool. So basically just looking at weekly structure, overall higher time frame, we can see what's going on. We're not moving in any real direction. We're kind of just moving sideways. But now looking at this most recent price action, we basically see prices violating these lower structures. We can see support, resistance, new lower lows, or whatever the case is. Price action is delivering lower to us. Now, going down to the daily, we're going to establish our directional bias here, just based off what we can see, excuse me, on the charts. Let's move this up here. Now, what I want to do for myself is just isolate all the structure that I can see here on the chart, this most recent price action. Let me just make sure that I've got these lower structures marked out. Okay, cool, there we go. But nonetheless, just looking at the most recent price action here on a daily, just isolating the structure, we've got some resistance, just paying attention to just the structure here. We obviously see price action coming in from here, entering some sort of sideways moving market. But nonetheless, our focus is just this most recent daily structure, where we've got our supports, we've got lows, highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, new lower lows. So obviously just taking into account our extreme lows, considering where price action has been touching a lot more, and then obviously our resistance as well. Yes, we violated this structure to the downside, but I just want to keep it there just for my reference, just so that when I'm making future decisions, I understand that prices can have the potential to break back above into my structure, and then basically just continue on this young bullish run that we've got going on there. But nonetheless, on a daily, these are our important key support structures over there. That's our important key support structures. As long as we're below those supports there, or whatever the case is, or maybe we'll refine it on a 4-hour, but as long as we're below those support structures, price action does have the potential to sell off rather than to buy from those areas. So let's just go down into a 4-hour, observe some nature in the price action. Okay, now coming down here onto a 4-hour, we still got the same descending structure that we've been isolating from last week, but obviously we see price action has violated. We've got some momentum to the upside, whatever the case is, cool. There we go. But looking at where we are right now, if you just look at 4-hour structure, we've got these lows over here. So obviously nice 4-hour point of interest there. We're seeing price action rejecting from those areas over there. So what I want to do for myself is just exercise some patience, because price action is being very corrective. Yes, we have broken. Now I want to make you guys, or I want to bring your guys' attention to also just looking at the candlesticks and observing, has the environment really changed? Yes, we violated this resistance trend line there. Okay, cool. We violated some resistance over there. Okay, cool. Awesome. But if we look at the candlesticks, like let's just look at all of these candlesticks there. Let's just actually look at all of these candlesticks from this area over here. From these resistance areas over here, look at all of the candlesticks that we have inside of there. Don't all of that just look kind of like the same? At least we can say over here we saw some little bit momentum, or something happened, or whatever the case is. But all of these candlesticks kind of look the same, which means that the environment that we are currently trading, like the environment hasn't changed. There's no, we can't say that there's a lot of momentum, because price is taking an equal amount of time, whether price is moving down, whether price is moving up, price is moving there in the same sort of a manner. So obviously all that we can do for ourselves is just trade the structures that we observe in the price action. Now, because we violated and all of that stuff, because I want to be a higher time frame bullish bias, all I'm going to do for myself is just isolate and see where are my important support structures, where obviously can I find any opportunities to buy. My important support structures are here down at these lows over there. So obviously the lower prices come towards these lower structures, the more likely I'm going to be looking for bullish bias structure. I do also know that on a smaller time frame, if I went down to a 1 hour, I would be able to isolate a corrective structure. I'll just do it, but I don't want to isolate this structure as yet. The same thing as Aussie CAD. I feel like I'm literally analyzing Aussie CAD again. But anyway, the same thing as Aussie CAD. Yes, we can isolate a young corrective structure over there, taking into account whatever lower structures we have there. But I don't want to do this for now. Still the weekend. Let's just allow on Monday when we wake up and we look at this market with fresh eyes, we then try and make sense of the lower time frame structure, obviously to accommodate for our higher time frame bias. Now, just looking at price action here on New Zealand dollar CAD from an hourly perspective, or why are we on an hour? From a 4-hourly perspective, I'd like to see price action coming down towards important key support areas here, because that's where I will find any buy opportunities, or at least probabilities for us to continue or follow through on a buy. Right now, where we are, we're violating these resistance areas correctively. So again, if you want to be worried, because price action is giving you a lot of reasons to be worried and concerned that maybe we are still inside of some chop and maybe we are still developing a larger structure. So obviously, if I take any trades on NZD CAD, I'm going to be taking them on a smaller size because I can see that market conditions really haven't changed. We're still inside of some sort of a corrective structure. As much as we're able to isolate new, adjust to the current price action to find the most recent direction or whatever the case is, higher time frame, we're still moving. The nature of how the price action is moving is still sort of similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for price action to come down to my important support structures, and then that's kind of where I will look for nice opportunities to be able to buy New Zealand dollar CAD. New Zealand dollar CAD. Cool. So I still do have a bullish bias on New Zealand dollar CAD. Obviously, let's see what happens during the week. Let's go on to some NJ. Let's go on to some New Zealand dollar JPY. Cool. So looking at the structure here on New Zealand dollar JPY, we've got some downside momentum. So this momentum, we've been speaking about it for a while. We had that downside momentum. We obviously see prices coming up there. Yes, we did violate, but nonetheless, we saw more sellers coming into the market and giving us new lower lows. But obviously, let's look at how is the market giving us that structure. We're violating these lows. Yes, there's momentum. We violated these lows here. We broke back above. We violated these lows here. We broke back above. So showing us that something about how price action is moving to the downside or moving in whichever direction is sort of corrective from a higher time frame perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to isolate whatever highs I have here, whatever extreme highs I've got there. I'm just going to accommodate for this most recent higher structure over there. And then also whatever extreme lows we've got over here, just accommodate for those extreme lows there. This looks like a very nasty structure. This looks so untidy. But anyway, we've got previous support structures that prices have broken back above, obviously in this area over here, some nice daily structures over there. Considering that price has been making lower lows and lower highs in a corrective manner, maybe I want to align myself on the bullish side of things rather than the bearish side of things. I feel so uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie, guys. I feel so uncomfortable switching my bias to bullish on these JPY code pairs. I feel very, very, very uncomfortable. Like I so badly want to sell. I do see long-term potential for JPY strength. That's why I so badly want to sell. But it's tough. I can't impose how I feel, what I would like the pair to do on what I see. I just got to trade what I see. And if price action does give me the opportunities to trade in the direction that I so badly want to, I want to sell these pairs, then obviously then I can. But if price action doesn't give me structure that allows me to do what I want to do, then tough luck. I've just got to wait until price action gives me that. So nonetheless, from a higher time frame, guys, we do know that maybe we want to be aligned on the buy side of things, obviously waiting for price action to come down to this point of interest over here. Okay, I thought my network was gone for a second there. Waiting for price action to basically come down to this point of interest here, where we can observe opportunities to buy New Zealand dollar JPY higher time frame. But obviously now, most recent price action, we've got some nice momentum to the downside, obviously giving us nice reasons to sell. Only point of interest that I'll be willing to sell this pair at is in this area over here. So if price action comes back to this area over here, that's probably the only point of interest that I'll be willing to sell. Otherwise, we'll observe the nature of the structure on Monday, see if we do get a nice corrective retest over there. But this rejection, I'm not too convinced. I'm seeing a lot of momentum to the downside, and then also buyers involved here. Yeah, I'm not too convinced, but yeah, they got me. Yeah, sellers are there. I can see them, they being there. but I'm not too convinced at the price action as yet. So what I'll do for myself is I do obviously have a bullish bias from these levels of structure there, just waiting for price action to obviously come down to my points of interest for this bullish bias to obviously be in play. But right now, based off price action violating, giving us some lower lows, lower highs from a 4-hourly perspective, I can obviously find an opportunity to sell, but I want to sell as high as I can sell, closest to this resistance trend line as I can sell. That's kind of where I want to sell. So I'll wait for price action to give me those high probability trading opportunities. Yeah, I feel like the only pair that I'm very excited about is just Aussie CAD. All the other pairs are just, okay, we'll just wait for them to come to our points of interest and then do what we can do. So US30, we'll start off on a 4-hour, obviously just observe some directional bias. So I still do see the same structure that I've been looking at this whole week, where we've got some resistance in this area over here. Let's just take into account that extreme high. Resistance in this area, nice distribution over there, but nonetheless, let's just mark this out here. There we go. Taking into account this most recent structure over there, we do see some nice momentum pushing to the downside. So obviously, just based off the structure, based on the momentum, I don't change anything about my processes of trading. I've got previous support here that has been violated. Some nice momentum to the downside. Yeah, we want to buy these pairs higher time frame, but just looking at the most recent price action, just reacting to this, I do see obviously a sell bias structure. So dropping down onto the H1, we'll just observe a little bit of nature of the price action. So nature of the price action, obviously, we can see that price action is at these support structures over here, is at these support structures over there. So obviously, we just need to wait for price action to move away. Our optimal highest area where we want to be looking for selling opportunities, obviously at the resistance, which is over there, because we always say that, yes, price action, as much as we know that lower lows and lower highs, that's how we classify them. Price action is still considered to be in a downtrend as long as we remain below the previous supply area that pushed market and violated some support structures. So as long as price action stays below previous support structure, resistance structure, or whatever the case is, yes, we can come as high as we would like to, but yes, price action is still bearish as long as we remain below this, obviously this resistance structure. And obviously once price action then violates the resistance area, then we can conclude that price action now has changed, or the nature of the structure has changed. Yeah, so on US30, I think I just want to follow through on this most recent sell side structure that I see on my chart. I do want to buy, but there is no structure that gives me any reasons to buy at this current moment in time. All I see is momentum to the downside. After I see prices being involved in an impulsive phase, what am I expecting? A corrective phase. And what environment do I trade? I trade the corrective phase. So that's exactly what I'm going to wait for before I look for sell bias trading opportunities on US30. So let's just look at the last pair, which was, I think we said gold, and then we'll call it a session. I see Koban is saying, just joined with the session. Are you done with GJ already? We have not looked at GJ, but we have looked at AJ, Susien, and NJ. Those are the three JPY code pairs that we're looking at. So AJ, we bullish bias. NJ, we bullish bias. Susien, we have no bias, but we're going to react to how the market develops from as the week progresses. We're just going to react as yeah. Let me just have a sip of my drink there, guys. I think my throat is a bit hoarse. Awesome. Okay, cool. So gold, maybe we'll start off just on a daily. I like the structure. I guess that's all I'm going to say. I like the structure. But what gold is doing, gold is doing, what pair was it? It was, wait, let me just think about the structure. It was AUD Swiss franc. AUD Swiss franc gave us. I just had to, I had to summon the forces within to think about the structure. No, it was not AUD Swiss franc. I'm wrong. I think it was New Zealand dollar JPY. or New Zealand dollar. We'll see. But nonetheless, there was a pair where we basically had price action giving us some sort of a corrective structure like this. We wanted to sell. Yes, market sold, but it entered another corrective structure, giving us other reasons to do something else. And then it did something else. And then we concluded that, oh, because this is a corrective structure and this is a corrective structure, maybe we in one large corrective structure or something of that nature. Gold is doing the exact same thing right now on a higher time frame, where we obviously see prices moving from one corrective structure to another corrective structure. We'll just throw it out now. There we go. So we basically have price action being inside of this descending structure, and we can see this descending structure is now turning into another type of a corrective structure, because obviously if this descending structure, if the momentum from this descending structure over here had followed through, then we should have seen continuation of price violating these equal highs there, maybe even coming into some areas up here. So obviously we can see that that descending structure didn't follow through, but we entered another piece of price action over there. So just looking at the most recent piece of price action here on a daily, I'll show you just this most recent piece of price action. Reason can let me explain. I just thought about, because I asked myself, why am I looking at the most recent piece of price action? I asked myself a question that I thought someone else would ask. The reason why I'm looking at just this most recent piece of price action is because I'm looking at extreme highs and extreme lows. Anytime I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm always looking at extreme highs, extreme low, high, low, extreme high, extreme low, extreme low, extreme high, extreme low. Okay, cool. Point being that ever since market created this extreme high and this extreme low, we've forever been creating structure within that extreme high and that extreme low. So that's kind of why I'm looking at this now as my momentum in my structure, and this as my corrective structure, because price definitely took a lot less time to move down than we are taking to move up back to this. Well, we haven't even gotten to these price regions as yet, but we're still taking a lot longer to move up than we did to move down. So concluding that this is my momentum, this is my corrective structure. So now that I have my corrective structure just based off nature's theory like this, we'll see what kind of a structure it is by just taking into account our extreme highs and our extreme lows. And awesome, it looks like some sort of an ascending structure that can give us some termination maybe at this resistance area over there, or whatever the case is. So we've got a nice directional bias over there. Also want to take into account these highs over here. Let's just look at these most recent highs here. We've got a nice kind of, like, you can call this an ascending structure from a daily perspective, or whatever the case is. So we do know that daily still has have maybe the potential to violate these highs, maybe come up to this area here before we see maybe a higher time frame sell off, or whatever the case is. But let's go down onto the 4 hour and just observe some nature in the price action there, just to make sense of what we're going to make sense of. There we go. So price action kind of has developed, loaded for us. So just looking at this most recent price action, obviously, once again, we see extreme highs and extreme lows on our chart. We've got extreme highs over here, extreme lows over there. And we clearly see price action giving us some levels of structure within those extreme highs and extreme lows. So we take into account what are those areas or levels of structure. We come out with this sort of an expanding structure, or whatever you want to call this thing. But it is an ascending structure. Whatever name you give it, conclusion would be that you're still ascending, still market creating higher highs and higher lows. Yes, as much as we're doing so in a corrective manner, or whatever the case is, because we've got resistance areas, prices violating those resistance, giving us new resistance, or up whatever in this area over there. We violated that new resistance, obviously in a corrective manner, showing us that price action is being corrective as we're moving to the upside. So taking into account that, yes, we do have resistance areas over there, we are at some sort of a resistance trend line, price action is moving very impulsively towards an area where we could be looking for some sell bias trading opportunities. Because price action is moving impulsively, what we wait for is for price action to violate some structure in the direction that we are looking to trade. Or in other words, we're looking for a reversal structure first. Reversal structure, be it a head and shoulders, be it an inverse head and shoulders, be it an ascending structure, all of those are reversal structures that can give us opportunities to obviously see that, yes, price action, or the buyers that we see in this market right now, obviously we're looking to sell because we see price action coming towards some resistance areas. We want to know, or we want to get information that, are these buyers still in the market? We don't want to trade while they're in the market. How do we know that they're out of the market? When we see price action beginning to decelerate towards the upside, we know that, oh, there's not a lot of convinced buying anymore in this area. Because obviously this looks like convinced buying. Then this should be the total opposite, not convinced buying, because we're moving to that resistance, but we're moving there slowly. Otherwise, if we don't see our ascending structure, then obviously we see sellers coming into the market for whatever reason, buyers coming back into the market and failing to break prices above a previous area where sellers came into the market. Once we see sellers now violating a previous area where all of these buyers that were here that thought that maybe they can push prices above the area again from here, once we see sellers being more, once we see sellers violating our support structures, and then obviously taking control of the current price action or the current market, then only we know that the buyers in this market are out of this condition. What we call this a head and shoulder double top structure. Okay, cool. We've got a name for that reversal structure. How else do we know sellers are in this market? Oh, there's something called a head and shoulder structure. What's a head and shoulder structure? An uptrend. What do we see after this uptrend? We first get an indication of corrective price action. Prices violating our resistance areas that buyers were able to obviously break above. What do we also get? We also see that all of the buyers that came in from this support structure over here, all the buyers that came in and were able to violate these resistance areas, there are an equal amount of people willing to sell this market and bring prices back to this value area here where obviously the previous buyers came in. What do we then look for? We obviously pay attention to nature's theory, considering that yes, sellers are in this market because we're seeing some sell side momentum and we're waiting for obviously our risk entries over here. If we don't find risk entries, what are we waiting for? A break and a retest of the neckline. What does the break and the retest of the neckline do for us? Or what information does the break and the retest of the neckline give us? It gives us this information. Yes, first we had an uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, but what do we have most recent price action doing now? We're seeing sellers in control of the market by seeing sellers creating lows, lower highs, violating structure, giving us new lower lows. So obviously we have these structures that we call whatever. The only problem is just that we never really thought about these structures to the point of why did these structures form. We just always concerned about the theory. It's called this, that is what it is. But nonetheless, think about these structures, guys. Think about why are they forming? What information does the formation of that structure give you? And then I guess maybe you just go one step further. But otherwise, we have structures that will give us indication of when these buyers that are currently involved in the market right now have exited the market. So all our job is now that we've established directional bias, we've got a couple of points of interest. You wait for structure to give you opportunities to enter in the direction you would like to enter based off the structures that develop. Obviously, the structures will then give you additional probability. So that was gold, guys. That was gold. I think I would be more sell biased than bullish bias on gold right now, just considering all of the corrective price action. So what I'd be waiting for is just for a reversal structure or for market to then start to decelerate towards this resistance area. And if I do find something like this at resistance, then obviously I can be willing to look for some sell bias trading opportunities. That's kind of how I would look at gold right now. Yeah, I'm 100% done, guys. I'm 100% done with the analysis. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of the analysis this Saturday. I kind of just wanted to get back in the habit. I know I've been very inconsistent with hosting Saturday sessions, doing market forecasts like the weekly market forecast. But yeah, hopefully I've changed my life and now I start being a little bit more consistent with it. I do apologize for the long break that we took. But yeah, hopefully this is the first of us being consistent with these Saturday sessions, guys. Otherwise, if there's no questions, hopefully please don't ask us to analyze a pair, guys, because I don't think we've got some time to answer a pair. I see Lacronica saying answer Abigail. Let me see where I don't see Abigail. I don't see any questions from Abigail there, Lacronic. I don't see any questions on my screen from Abigail. So I'm not sure what you mean there by answer Abigail. I see Bafana saying, oh, there's a hand. Okay, because I'm sharing screen, I can't see hands. Okay, cool. Let me allow Abigail to unmute. Let me just make sure it's going. Abigail asked to unmute. Let me just put on my headsets just so I can hear you properly, Abigail. You can go ahead, Abigail, and unmute yourself there. We'll just wait for, give Abigail a couple of seconds. Let's see what the YouTube comments are. I see. Can you please put a reminder on YouTube to notify us next time? Always no stress, no stress.
Hi, it's now okay.
Hey, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hi, it's now okay. You've answered me. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, no, guys, we're definitely going to try and be a lot more consistent with the Saturday sessions now. Otherwise, thanks so much, guys. Let there be peace in the streets. Let there be peace in the streets. Let our brothers and sisters be safe there, guys. Let our brothers and sisters be safe.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? Yo, what's good, guys? What's good there, YouTube? Let me just come and have a chat with you guys here on YouTube. See what's popping, what's popping. Our live sessioners are gone. Our live sessioners are gone. Who's in the building on YouTube? This guy's watching TNT TV. What are you watching there? What episode are you watching? It's couples exchanging phones. What's good there? Let's see you guys in the chats there on YouTube. Let's see you guys in the chats there. Who's in the building? Let's see. Did you just? Oh, Yo T, you have a YouTube channel. I just hit that subscribe. Oh yeah, Wayne Johnson. I see Wayne Johnson there in the building. Paul. And Paul is giving some waves there. I see Bob's Livingstone. T, please share more information on what time does your live chat start, and is it only Saturdays? Accidentally, I came across this chat. So we do try and like host on Saturdays only and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna try and make it a bit more consistent, because I was consistent in the past and I kind of slowed down doing the Saturday sessions, but hopefully from now we'll be a bit more consistent. I see this nigga here was busy in my session. What were you doing in my session? You see Frank Smooth there saying nice breakdown. Always. I see Tepiso saying, T.Mayne, how often do you do these? So we'll try and do it more often, hopefully every Saturday. Tepiso, can you please say that? Okay, cool, we read that. See, Tepiso's asking, are you at the office? Why are you asking, man? Are you coming for us? Yes, we are. But we have guns, man. We have guns. So don't try anything, man. I see Mr. Vilagazi saying, I need your help there. Just let me know what you need my help with. Just send me a DM on Instagram at t_main.sa. But yeah. Otherwise, guys, yeah, let there be peace. Let there be peace in the streets. Let me round off this live because I do have other things to get done. But otherwise, guys, thanks so much for being part of the live. Enjoy the rest of your guys' day and the weekend.